A busy week ahead for the central banks. We'll hear from the Fed, the BOE and the Central Bank of Japan. And to tell us more about what we can expect, we'll speak to Bob Mason from FX Empire. This is The Week Ahead. Hey Bob, thanks for joining us. As always, pleasure to speak to you. Another week of trading is coming up. What data releases and other macroeconomic events should traders be looking out for?
Yeah, it's a very busy week ahead on the economic data front. For the US dollar, at the start of the week, we got New York Empire State manufacturing figures for September and industrial production numbers due out. Midweek focus then shifts to retail sales figures. Those are going to have a material impact because obviously consumer spending is key to the US economy. And then focus shifts to jobless claims and Philly Fed manufacturing numbers on Thursday, and wrapping up the week of consumer sentiment numbers for September as well on Friday. Main event, however, is going to be the Fed. We've got the FOMC economic projections. Fed's not expected to make any moves, but we've obviously seen the revised monetary policy framework. So let's see how these projections look. So markets are going to be expecting low for longer. But the real issue is whether there's any particularly doom and gloom over the economic outlook that would obviously be an issue for the markets. For the euro, economic sentiment numbers, trade data, wage growth, consumer sentiment figures as well. These are all out for the Eurozone and Germany. So those are going to be the key areas of focus, but expect market sentiment to be a key driver for the euro. Obviously, the Fed's going to have an impact on the dollar. Any further dollar weakness, and that's not too good for the euro and the European equity markets. Finally, going over to the pound, also a busy week. We got employment figures at the start of the week. Then we got the BOE in action on Thursday. They've been talking about doom and gloom of late. So how are they projecting, monetary policy going forward? What's that forward guidance? Brexit is certainly not helping. And then at the end of the week, we've got retail sales figures. UK's under the hammer once more. Containment measures kick in on the 14th of September. No more than 6 people in each group allowed to be in social gatherings. So there's a lot of things to look out for in the week ahead.
Elsewhere, Bob, oil prices plummeted this week. It could have impacted commodity currency countries quite dramatically. What data next week could reveal such an impact?
Yeah, for the commodity currencies. So for the loonie, we've got inflation and retail sales figures. Expect plenty of interest in those numbers. The markets have grown more interested in inflation figures of late, so expect that to provide some direction. Obviously, retail sales consumption remains key. For the Australian dollar, employment figures in the second half of the week. Obviously, for the RBA, improved employment conditions, pick up in consumer confidence, and a rise in consumer spending remains key to the economic recovery. Dire numbers, and expect the markets to begin to consider a possible move by the RBA near term. Finally, for the New Zealand dollar, quiet week, just second quarter GDP numbers. Market's going to be forgiving on that, COVID-19 and all that. So we're not expecting too much influence on a Kiwi dollar that's already under the hammer as a result of the RBNZ's talk of negative rates.
In the meantime, Bob, what about in Asia?
Yeah, for the Japanese yen, so key stats out of Japan in the week include trade data and inflation figures. Those are due out on Wednesday and Friday. However, the main event of the week is going to be the Bank of Japan monetary policy decision. Abenomics has gone now that President Abe has had to step down due to illness. So what's on the horizon? The Japanese economy is under the cosh. So the BOJ can't sit back any further, really. And they've been making plenty of promises. So do they have any ammunition left, or is it really just a case of, hope that things improve? There's going to be some sort of guidance, but whether the markets are convinced remains to be seen. Out of China, you've got industrial production, fixed asset investment, retail sales figures, with China looking for internal support for an economic recovery. Expect retail sales and industrial production figures to be key on the data front.
Finally, Bob, just to finish up, what about geopolitics? Is there anything in particular we should be looking at?
Yeah, finally on the geopolitical risk front, well, the main area of focus is now Brexit. We've seen the pound slide back to sub 130s, having hit 134s and, facing resistance at 135 on the 1st of September. So that's quite a fall from grace. Chances of a no-deal Brexit are really becoming quite real, with UK fisheries the main stumbling block that is holding back trade talks. So yeah, Brexit will be in the main area of focus. Obviously, you've got US and China that continues to be an area of disgruntlement for the markets. As Trump looks to rile Beijing. So expect that to be an area of focus. Then obviously you've got US presidential election chatter. The war of words has begun. So let's see how the markets deal with that in the week ahead.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much, Bob. Always a pleasure to speak with you, and we'll speak to you again very soon indeed. And thank you everyone for watching. That's it from this week's Week Ahead. We'll see you again next week for the next Week Ahead. Don't forget to head over to all of our Dukasgobi TV social media platforms to see all of our content across all of the markets. Take care. See you soon.